Okay, the first thing I want you to do is make sure your name is up here and your period. All right, next we're gonna label the colors in the color wheel so when you're painting, you don't get confused. What I like to do, I start with red, I skip a space, and I just do the colors of the rainbow. Orange, skip, yellow, skip, green, skip, blue, skip, violet. Okay, now I have all my rainbow colors in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my tertiary colors. So I'm just gonna abbreviate them. Here we have red, orange, yellow, orange, because remember we say the primary color first. So this one, yellow, green, because we're mixing up yellow and green. Here, we're gonna have blue, green. Here, blue, violet. And then these two, we are going to do red, violet. So I'm gonna start with red, and I want you to do the same thing. And I am going to do yellow. Okay, so I'm gonna get about a quarter size amount of my red paint. You can get more if you need more, but we kind of want to start small so we don't waste. So there's my quarter size amount of red and my quarter size amount of yellow, okay? And I'm just going to start painting. Now I want to talk about the paintbrush for just a minute because I've noticed the brushes, the hairs are kind of already starting to stick out here. When we are painting, we want to, for the most part, use the edge of the brush or the side. We don't ever want to smash the brush down really hard because that is going to make these little hairs kind of stand out, and that gets in the way of making a smooth line. We also want to try really hard not to get paint up here on this silver part. So when we're mixing the paint, we're going to use the paintbrush, and you're going to see we're going to try really hard to keep the paint towards the bottom of the brush and not up here, okay? If it happens, just clean off your brush, start again, because once you start getting like tons of paint on your brush, it gets up here, it's hard to make a clean line. So I'm just gonna start with my red. I don't need to mix anything here. This red is a little tacky. I might have to add some water to it to smooth it out. And I want you to work on making clean lines. So you kind of just drag the brush along the edge there. It's easier sometimes to move your paper than your hand. Try and get an even coat of paint. So I'm evening out all these kind of like little clumps as I go. Okay, that's pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, I'm gonna wash my brush. I'm gonna get all the red paint completely off, and I'm gonna paint my primary yellow. So make sure you're washing your brush really good. You don't want any paint left on there, because if you do, you're gonna start turning that yellow orange, okay? And then what I do is I wipe it so it's dry on the paper towel. You want your brush to be dry. If you add a bunch of water to there, it's gonna get really kind of diluted, and it's not going to paint that true yellow color. I always like to smooth out my brush. That's how you start getting paint on your hands. So you totally don't have to do that. At this point, it's kind of habit. It's what I do. You don't have to do that. All right, so let's move to the yellow. I'm gonna grab my yellow paint here, keeping it on the bottom part of my brush, Kind of took a lot there, but that's okay. I'm going to smooth it out. And you can see how I'm keeping the paint just on the bottom part of this brush, which is easy now, but as you start mixing, it gets a little trickier. Okay, so now I'm gonna start filling in these colors. I'm gonna grab this yellow here, make a little new pile over here. And I kind of have to like twirl my brush a little bit to get the paint off of it. I'm gonna add a little bit of red. And I'm actually gonna start mixing, I'm right here. I'm gonna start with red, orange first. And this is where, so see how I kind of have to twirl it to get the paint off? This is where I want you to start using your color wheel to compare your colors. So I have my color wheel right here. I just did my red. I'm on red, orange, and I'm gonna hold it up to the color here. Still kind of have a lot of yellow on my brush there. And as I'm looking, I can see that like, it's pretty close. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more yellow to try and get it closer to that red orange because it was a little too red. That's looking pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect. I want you to get as close as you can. Okay, so now I'm going to red orange. I'm working on painting those clean lines because you're really gonna need a lot of clean lines for your next project. You have to make sure you mix enough paint for your space. If you don't, what you can do is let it dry and go over it again, because sometimes if you paint over it, you end up lifting the paint and you get a white spot when it's not dry. At some point, I'll probably make a mistake and show you, and there's a good chance you'll do it on your own and you'll see what you're saying. You'll see what I'm saying, you'll be like, oh, there's that white spot. And we call that paint lifting. Okay. So now my goal is to get orange. So I have red orange. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix more yellow. And I'm being careful trying to keep the paint like on the bottom half. I'm not like being super successful, but at least it's not on the silver. And a lot of times when we mix paint, we can use a palette knife, but right now we're just using our brush because we're not mixing a ton of paint. Still too dark, so I'm gonna add some more yellow. And I kind of twirl it like this, gently, not like smashing it because I don't want to damage the brush. And I'm gonna check. Still a little too dark. I'm gonna add some more yellow. So you kind of just gotta take your time. Be patient, have fun. It's paint. Painting should be fun. I think that's pretty close. I'm gonna add just like a tiny bit more yellow, and then we're gonna call it good. Kind of swirling to get the paint off. And I'm also trying to mix it in a little pile. You can tell I'm starting to get bigger and bigger. You want to try your hardest not to do that, because then you just kind of have paint all over your paper. Okay, that's pretty good. So now I'm gonna paint my orange box. I probably even could have gone a touch lighter, because when this dries, paint dries darker. So when it's completely dry, I might paint over it again, because I'm not sure I got a true orange. It's close. But I'm a little concerned when it dries, it's gonna be dark. But that's okay, because it's paint, and the nice thing about paint is you can paint over paint when it's dry. No big deal. Okay, and then I'm gonna do my yellow orange. So I'm just gonna keep working with this pile, grab some yellow. And yellow orange is fairly light, so I'm gonna try and stay away from that red paint I have in there, because I'm really trying to lighten this up. Trying to twirl to get all this paint I have off my brush so the colors mix clean. Okay, let's see where we're at. Yellow orange, like I was saying, it's pretty light. We definitely need more yellow, and I'm worried I got too much red in here, and it's not helping my cause. And then this all over here is red, so I'm trying to stay away from that. If I can't get the right color, I might have to add some more just yellow, so I'm not getting any more red in there. Because, let's try this over here. Definitely, this is where I'm starting to get a big old pile of paint, trying to get that light yellow orange, which is okay. Okay, so we can see, let's see how we're doing. I feel like it's still gonna be here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get a little bit more yellow to get that yellow in there with no red, because that is not helping me. So I'm gonna grab some yellow. We're getting there. I tend to start to lose patience, but I don't want you to do that. Okay, I've made a mess of my brush. We're gonna wash. I kind of drag it on the bottom gently to kind of kick that paint off. And then I'm gonna dry it off here. And then, like I said, I always do that. It's more habit than anything. See how we're doing? Okay, that's pretty good. Kind of gotta mix it up a little bit better here. I know this isn't the most exciting thing to watch, but I kind of want you to see the process. Okay, final check. We're gonna call it good. That is pretty close. So I'm gonna paint my yellow orange. Okay, and this is probably, how long did that take me? It took me about 15 minutes. This might be all you have time to do. If there's more time, I want you to get your blue on there and then you can start mixing these colors.